Shall we get my final guests out? Yeah! Before they go racing off on some other mad adventure, will you please welcome out here Mr. Charley, Boorman and Mr. Ewan McGregor, ladies and gentlemen.
We're on the road to nowhere. Come on inside. We're on the road to paradise. Here we go, here we go. We're on the road to nowhere.
Already, actually, the problem with you guys, you took the long route round. That's the problem. You can't just go from A to B in a straight line, can you? How lovely to see you both again, and congratulations on another remarkable adventure.
Thank you.
So this time...
It's really uncomfortable.
Is it really uncomfortable?
It's really hard.
Well, this is kind
It's
of
like
somebody
Letterman. They make the guests as uncomfortable as possible. It's a kind of sadistic skill that's employed by the television host.
No, stick around. I don't need a couch to make you uncomfortable. Tell me about this one, though, because last time you came on, it was quite a remarkable journey you'd gone, and that was called... The first one was called The Long Way Round, and this one is called The Long Way...
Down.
Okay.
Because we went down, you see.
That's right, I understand. Right. So, you went from John O'Groats down to Cape Town, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, now, what inspired this particular journey? Why go on this particular adventure?
Well, it was after we were on your show.
You're on here.
Just before Long Way Round came on the television. And then we went back to our workshops, which were just down the road at that time, Bulwer Street. And we sat celebrating the wonderful time we'd had on your television show.
Marvellous, as you
And we got out the maps, and we decided there was kind of two obvious next routes. One was down through Africa, and the other one might be up through the Americas, from South to North America.
Yes.
And so we kind of, that night, settled on Africa as being the next trip, and then it just took us 3 years to fix a date to do it.
And so it takes a lot of preparation to get that sort of thing sorted out, I guess, because and I would have thought this was a riskier journey in some ways, because you're going through countries where there's a great degree of unrest. Would I be right?
Well, I think a lot of people sort of say that, and when you say, oh, listen, we're going to go on this trip through Africa, people say, oh, that's a kind of dodgy place to go to. And you go, have you been there? And they go, no, 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 wouldn't go, never been. Yeah. So, you know, and I think the closer we got to leaving, we met a lot of people who were very negative. We had some hostile environmental training with this guy who shouldn't be named, and you can watch him.
So this is before you headed off to Africa, and this is some... Bring back Mr. Pickle. Let's make it a threesome. This is in Essex. Is this right?
Moved off the stool. I was really disappointed.
Okay, let's have a look. This is Ewan and Charley undergoing some training to get them ready for a worst-case scenario, I guess.
Okay, we got a situation up here.
Okay. Reverse. Just go back.
Go back a bit.
Back. I think go back.
Reverse. Go back.
Watch out, they're there. Go, run!
Okay, I'll go. We're here. Just talk. I'm working for UNICEF, UN, United Nations.
Money?
When he took me away from everyone else, I thought he was just going to cat me.
Shut up!
And then when we were sitting there, I was looking over, and I was thinking, for Christ, he said, they're all there, they're all busy with those guys. I think I should leg it at this time.
Where's Charley gone?
Shut it! Shut!
Did they just get Charley?
Yep. Shut up! I don't...
Okay.
So that's to prepare you in case something bad were to happen like that. So what? So you know not to do something silly like you did, which is to run off.
This was the kind of course they send, you know, journalists who are going into war zones on and stuff, and it's a hazardous environment training course. But we did get some not from these people, but from other people. We got some terrible advice.
Well, like what?
Like you will be macheted to death by angry African villagers.
You know,
and this was a survival guy, and we went, well, come on, that's not. Where? Yeah. And he went, everywhere. And it's just not the case.
No, it's not, and if it wasn't people, it would be hyenas who would, if you leave your face out of the tent, it'll take your face off. We're woken up at 2 o'clock in the morning by hippos and buffalo and...
But is it scary? Do you think they might come... What if a hippo came and looked in your tent and... Ooh, hello.
Was that elephant?
You know...
Hippos are very dangerous.
They're
They're probably the
dangerous
most dangerous animal there. But
Yeah.
if you get between them and the water, you're in trouble. So you just make sure you don't do that. Elephants you hear at night, and we camped in places in Botswana. There was it sounded very close, an elephant at night. And Claudio, our cameraman, often would edit on his laptop late into the night. And there was one night I was asleep and I woke up and I could hear kind of footsteps, and I thought it was Claudio coming back from his editing. You know. And then I could hear this munch. I mean, I could really clearly hear something chewing. And then twigs snapping off trees, and I thought, no, that's not Claudio. And then I heard the noise the elephants make. And I got up and I was in my sleeping bag. I wasn't wearing anything, so I put a T-shirt on and my boots. And then there was someone across the road, Charley or Russ or Dave, will go, Ewan, come over this way, it's elephants. So I went, okay. So I stepped up, but I wasn't wearing any trousers. I thought it's probably not the thing. So I went back from my breaks, I put my kicks on, and then I went, and I thought, I should close the mosquito flap on my door in case there's mosquitoes in. I did all this stuff with elephants crawling around.
And so you were that close to the wildlife, but did you have any incidents where things did get damaged working, or were you just lucky?
No, I mean, I was just going to say the only real damage we did was falling off our bikes, and we did that a few times.
And that's because of you're not very good riders, or
that's because the terrain was so unbelievably challenging and difficult.
It does look like it was bumpy. I mean, because your shock absorbers went, didn't they, on the back of your bike?
Yeah, we had a few of those.
Yeah. Charley, I have to say though, is the most, because since we did Long Way Round, till we did Long Way Down, Charley went off and did the Dakar Rally.
Yeah. Now this is like the most dangerous race you can do, isn't that right?
Well, off-road, yeah, that's what they say.
Okay, what were the most eye-opening things that occurred on this journey? I mean, what were the things that, because I remember last time when you came back and I asked you something similar, and I think you came back just with a sense of just how many interesting and indeed nice people are out there, just the warmth and the generosity of other human beings, which is a marvellous thing to bring home something like this. A similar experience this time?
Sure. Definitely, and even more so in a way, after all the terrible kind of advice we'd been given beforehand, we found people to be really generous and friendly as we did the last time, and it reaffirmed that very often the people who have the least are the most generous. We in Ethiopia, we came through Sudan, which was 49, 50-degree heat, trying to get those bikes through the sand, and then you cross the border into Ethiopia, and immediately it's green, you're climbing up into the mountains, and it's a whole different ballgame altogether, isn't it? Little villages, and there, people would welcome us into their little huts and this woman made us the best ginger tea, and they had this little bit of ginger, and she had a family, and she made us the tea, and they were incredibly generous with us, and we found that all the way through, that we didn't ever find ourselves in positions where we were worried or worried about people.
And what is the kind of, primarily, what is the food stuff that you encounter the most? Would it be maize or some kind of grain, or would it be livestock like, I don't know, whether goat, yeah? That's the thing you see the most.
Do you remember when we were in northern Kenya, and we had to be with these soldiers? So we stopped, and we have this problem with the rare shock, and so we didn't make where we wanted to go, so we had to camp, and the soldiers went off to the local village to he said, we'll have some goat. And they said, that's fine. So they came back in this van. You expect it to sort of goat to be there, and they opened the door, and all you could hear was this, meh. And this goat was dragged out to the back of the car.
Man, and they killed it in front of you.
First thing over a border, often a goat would be killed in honour of your arrival.
I've had goat once years ago. I had some goat curry at a wedding, and it was very nice. But do they prepare it in a nice way? Is it a meat you miss when now you're back here, or do you still have a bit of goat occasionally?
I would have goat now and again, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. Okay, listen, let's have a look. This is a clip of you, and I'm very envious of you here. I've joked about not wanting to go to Africa myself, and I would love to find myself in this situation. Because here, it's a kind of a David Attenborough moment, where, I don't know whereabouts in Africa this was, where you came close to the gorillas. Where was this?
Oh, yeah, in
Rwanda, which is a troubled part of the world, but a beautiful part of the world. It's calmed down now, it's a bit more stable.
It's incredibly progressive, yeah.
Okay, this is the fellas as they encountered actual live gorillas in Rwanda. Look at this, it's beautiful.